Hey guys, Scott here with a new beer dissection video for you. What I have today, if you haven't watched it yet, again, I know you guys all watch this at varying times, and maybe you're a brand new viewer of my channel. I had picked up like I did with Sam Adams and Goose Island, I picked up a compilation pack or variety 12 pack, or actually it's 15 pack of Southern Tier Brewery. They have a lot of two hazy IPAs, two regular IPAs, one double IPA, a blonde ale. The one I have today is the Southern Tier 2 times IPA, which I presume is a double IPA. This is checking in at 8.2% alcohol. It's using, I think I did a couple of notes on this one. They're using Citra, Simcoe, CTZ, hops, Cascade, Centennial, so you get a little Pacific Northwest. Definitely got a good mixture of it. I don't get the breakdown on what's used for bitterness, aroma, whatever that way. And 80 IBUs, so International Bitterness Units. So we're sitting in like definitely double IPA territory. So this is going to have a probably assertive to highly assertive bitterness to it. Remember, Southern Tier, I was up in upstate New York in the Finger Lake region for about 4 years. And the Southern Tier, for those of you not familiar with New York, you have Long Island, you have the downstate area like Westchester, Rockland County, Suffern, just north of New York City. Then that area kind of below Albany and then heads west towards Buffalo, which Lakewood is roughly southwest of Buffalo, right before the Pennsylvania-New York border. That strip of land in New York in the upstate area, kind of south of Albany, I could be mistaken that it's more south of Syracuse, is the Southern Tier. Hence, Southern Tier Brewing Company, which I got to believe that's where they're basing this from. So again, a little history on Southern Tier Brewing Company. Again, if you haven't watched, if you're a brand new viewer of mine, I like these compilation packs, again, because you can kind of taste several beers from one brewery and put it all together and kind of get a little bit of a profile to it. At the time of filming of this particular video, I've done one beer called New Haze from Southern Tier, which was very good. If you haven't seen that video, you can definitely take a look at it. So far, the Southern Tier is beating my Goose Island compilation pack. But I like to review these because, one, it's from New York, and two, you see these beers that are readily available that are being sold in your grocery stores. You don't know what you're getting out of there. So in a sense, I guess I'm going to be that guinea pig for you. So this one, Southern Tier 2 times IPA, is what I'm reviewing, doing the beer dissection for you. Says bold, fruity, floral, and hop flavor, 8.2% alcohol, which seems to be a contest. It's dry hopped. I don't know which one's dry hopped, which one's using for bitterness, but they've got Citra, Simcoe, CTZ, Cascade, Centennial hops. Again, pop it in 8.2% alcohol, 80 IBUs, 2-time IPA. They do have, I haven't reviewed it yet, they have a regular IPA, which hopefully I'll do a video on there. I don't sometimes do videos on all of them. But this one's best buy is April 26th of 23. So reasonably fresh. And, when you're looking at IPAs, you want that, because I find that if you don't, you start getting that murky brownish kind of color to your IPAs. You start losing that bitterness, flavor, aroma type of hops. And then sometimes you even get I perceive sometimes as vegetative quality of hops. So you definitely want your IPAs very fresh, as fresh as you can. So if I'm calculating this appropriately, reasonably fresh. I definitely would like it a little bit fresher, but, not too bad. And again, I do live here in New York, so even though Lakewood, New York is quite a distance from me, I find this pretty reasonable as far as distance. So again, pretty kitschy little, a nice little hop on there. Okay, on the can. All right, so let's open this bad boy open here. Again, like most of my IPAs, I prefer to drink either from one of my tulips. This is kind of a tulip / oversized snifter, or anything else that kind of accentuates bringing those aromatics up to the top of the glass. Again, at 82.2%, I mean, I even hate to say that there are a lot of IPAs out there. It's almost like there's a competition these days to it. All right, so let's take a look at this bad boy, all right? So on my end, the picture may be slightly different, but on my end, I got this kind of medium gold color, white, pretty tight bubbles head on this beer. Again, gold, there's a little bit of a haze to it, chill haze, but most IPAs, you're gonna get that. You've heard me say this before, if you're not a kind of a beer tuber yourself, or not in the industry, you understand that there's several things that are contributing to the haze. The polyphenols from the hops, just the hop matter itself. Sometimes they use oats, sometimes they use unmalted wheat. This one, I don't think I have those specs as far as that they're using that to kind of create that hazy look to it. But because it has a little bit of gold color, I would say this is a typical regular IPA / double IPA, which is not false advertising since they have that on there. Not in your New England IPA territory, okay? So other than that, let's take a sniff of this. Let me just swirl it around a little bit. Sometimes if you guys are doing aroma, cover the top of your glass, spin it around, and then take a whiff of it. You can kind of get a nice blast. Or if you think your nasal passages have been kind of corrupted, breathe into your elbow a little bit, kind of refresh the neural connections between your nose and because remember your olfactory nerve kind of goes through the cribriform plate through your skull, kind of goes into your nasal passages. So you want to kind of trick it a little bit. So let's take a whiff of this. Oh yeah. I get a slight grapefruit. I get that white grape aroma too, which I've said on some hop varietals give that to me. Floral too. You almost get like a Hawaiian tropical floral type aroma. I remember being in Hawaii one time. I was walking on a pathway. You kind of get that blast of that floral bouquet. Very nice though. Very, very nice. Okay. Malt profile from this. I mean, again, the typical standard. You heard me say it again with similar styles to this. Light toast, light breadcrumb type of aroma on the malt. Very, very pleasant. I really, I'm already kind of impressed by this. I'm actually very happy because, like I said, I reviewed one of the other beers from them, and this is we're going ahead very well so far. Okay, so cheers, guys. Ooh, yeah. I say ooh because it is definitely double IPA. I almost get hit with the boozy, alcoholic warmth up front. Not as crazy as some of the Goose Island ones I tasted. If you watch those videos, you follow me regularly. If you don't, you can check those videos out. Almost like I get the floral aroma. There's some tannin bite, almost like tea kind of flavor to it, which is not unpleasant. It's actually quite nice. It's actually, I like the originality to it. The aftertaste is kind of giving me a little grapefruit pith. There's definitely a, pronounced to assertive bitterness. What did I say, 80 IBUs? You would expect that. Get a little bubble gum on the aroma, on the flavor. Again, that's a perception. Obviously, not putting bubble gum in the beer. The mouthfeel definitely medium to medium full-bodied, because I think between the alcoholic strength, there's still some residual sugar. This is not cloyingly sweet, but because the alcoholic strength and the bitterness, you realize you're drinking something with a lot. I mean, it drinks like it's 8.2%. I mean, sometimes I tell you, especially with Belgian beers, it's sitting at like 8 to 10% alcohol, but it drinks like it's, exaggerate a little bit, like 3% because of the type of sugars they're using. But this definitely drinks like 8.2%. So definitely a sipping beer. Some other specs, if I just check a couple of notes that I took, not much more than that. But there is some alcoholic warmth to it. Medium, carbonated, to style. I think between the carbonation, the alcoholic warmth, the bitterness, you realize, you got a potent beer here. But this is really good. I mean, I do enjoy it. Like, even though sometimes on my videos, you guys don't watch my videos regularly, I analyze things. I kind of give you what my perception is, but it doesn't mean I'm knocking the beer. It just means that, I just want you to be able to perceive it while you're watching this video, or even, conceptualize it a little bit. So it definitely has a little oomph to it. I mean, pairing-wise, the intensity of this is pretty high. So, your classic blue cheese, Roquefort pairings, Stilton cheeses, very sharp cheddar cheeses would work good if you're doing a cheese. Goat milk, sheep milk type of cheeses. I would also go with, maybe like steak, or with a chimichurri sauce, or very oily, sauces, even like pesto, gnocchi and things like that you'd go with. Something that has a little oomph. This can kind of cut through this. Has a ton of bitterness. It has enough carbonation to kind of cut through some of that. However, because of the alcoholic strength, you're not going to be drinking a ton of these. So it's not going to be very refreshing of a beer. But it will cut through some of those if you kind of sip it wisely. So again, what I was saying before is you take your glass, kind of cover it like I am doing, you swirl it around. Okay, I'm not going to try to do that on camera, and take a whiff. So again, white grape, maybe even a slight peach on a long sniff. And the flavor, again, you definitely get that bitterness way up front. Pretty fresh, but I mean, overall, I'm enjoying this. And I am quite pleased so far with Southern Tier, with the beers that I've had so far. I've done two. This is my second review on camera. Depending on, again, when you're watching this, I've had one or two off camera, which I may wind up reviewing on camera. But guys, if you're looking for a low bitterness New England IPA, hazy, juicy, kind of like Heady Topper, some of your Hill Farmstead beers like that, Equilibrium that does some of the New England IPAs, you're not going to get this because you've got a lot of bitterness here. There's enough malt that balances a little bit, but it's definitely not beers like that. So if you like beers like that or IPAs like that, this would not be for you. If you kind of like a nice lip puckering kind of West Coast IPA, an IPA with a good amount of assertive bitterness, this is for you. There's enough malt that kind of balances out a little bit, but again, this is a bitter beer. And I'm not talking about the 1980s commercials of Keystone and Keystone Light commercials, bitter beer face. So if you like, if you're not big into bitter beers, high IBU beers, this wouldn't be for you. But if you like that, this is right up your alley. It's really nice. I get no off flavors that I can perceive. I've learned a lot with off flavors. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on it, but I don't pick that up. I think it's reasonably fresh. Again, you get that warmth. On the retronasal, and you get a little more white grape. But again, guys, the beer dissection today was the 2-time IPA, which I presume is double IPA, Southern Tier, 8.2%. They definitely say bold, dynamic, and extraordinary. I mean, definitely bold and dynamic, and I think it probably is extraordinary. I mean, this is a good, a very solid double IPA. And there's enough balance between it. But yeah, again, this is no joke, this beer, between the alcohol percentage and the bitterness. So other than that, guys, hopefully get a little bit out of that. You're learning a little bit more from this brewery in Lakewood, in New York, which is just southwest of Buffalo, which is probably full of snow. I'm filming this at the end of January. So other than that, guys, have a great one. Till the next video, take care of yourself.